All right, let's get right into it. The world of global shipping. It's this massive, incredibly complex system that, for most of us, is pretty much invisible. But a huge change is coming. A real shakeup that's all about redrawing the map of how literally everything gets from A to B across the planet. So, here's the headline news. You've got two absolute titans of the industry, Hapag-Lloyd and Maersk, and they're teaming up. They're creating this new alliance called the Gemini Cooperation. And look, this isn't some minor adjustment. This is a top-to-bottom overhaul of their global operations, and it's all kicking off in early 2025. So you have to ask, right? Why are they doing this? These companies move millions and millions of containers every single year. You'd think the system, for the most part, is working. Well, it turns out there's a huge fundamental problem that's been hiding in plain sight. I mean, really, why tear up a system that's been in place for decades? What could possibly be so broken that it forces two giants to completely reinvent how they do business? Well, it all boils down to one simple, powerful word: vulnerability. If the last few years have taught us anything, it's just how fragile our global supply chains really are. You know, a single ship gets stuck in a canal or one port shuts down and bam, it creates this massive domino effect, a cascade of delays that hits everything, from the package you ordered online to the critical parts a factory needs to build a car. And let's just put some numbers on this problem, because they are staggering. Right now, in the classic shipping networks, cargo gets delivered on time only about 50 to 60% of the time. I mean, that's basically a coin flip. The goal for Gemini, they want to push that number over 90%. That is a colossal leap in performance. Okay, so how on earth are they going to do that? This isn't just about telling people to work harder. Nope. It's about a totally different way of thinking, a new operational model that's actually borrowed from another huge transportation industry. They're rolling out a hub-and-spoke model. And if you've ever been on an airplane, you already get this. You know how you almost never fly direct to a small town? You usually fly to a big hub, like Chicago or Frankfurt, and then you connect to a smaller plane. Well, Gemini is planning to do that exact same thing, but for giant container ships. And this map just shows you perfectly how it works. You'll have these enormous mainliner vessels just sailing simple, super efficient routes between a few key hub ports. And then from those hubs, a whole web of smaller, dedicated shuttle ships will fan out to all the other regional ports. The genius here is that it contains any disruptions and keeps the main shipping arteries flowing no matter what. Now, this whole model is built on 4 principles that all have to work together. First, the main lines get way more efficient because they have fewer stops. Second, they'll control the hub terminals themselves, which means they can guarantee super fast turnarounds. Third, that shuttle network gives them flexible coverage to just about everywhere. And finally, the big one. Everything is synchronized like a Swiss watch, which just slashes waiting times and builds a much, much tougher network. Okay, a more efficient network sounds great on paper, but what does it actually mean for you, for the companies shipping goods, and, for the planet? Let's break down the actual promises here. This is the big one, the number they're putting out there. Once this network is fully up and running, Gemini is targeting a schedule reliability of over 90%. In an industry where, again, 50% is pretty common, that's not just an improvement. It's a total game changer. It sets a completely new bar for quality. So for customers, all this reliability means way better connectivity. And that's not just some buzzword. It means faster shipping, more predictable shipping. It means your cargo spends way less time just sitting around in a port waiting for the next ship. And it means the whole network can react way faster when customer demand changes. And you know what? There's a massive environmental benefit too. All this efficiency translates directly into sustainability. Think about it. Bigger, more efficient ships on the main routes, optimizing their speed because they don't have to rush to make up for delays, and cutting down on all that unproductive waiting time in ports. It all means one thing: burning a whole lot less fuel. And that's a huge piece of their puzzle to get to net zero emissions by 2045. So a huge operational shift like this doesn't just happen in a bubble, right? It's tied into a much larger corporate strategy. Let's take a look at a real-world example of how this new efficiency is already paving the way for strategic growth. So first, a little context is important. The Gemini Cooperation, it covers the main trade lanes between Asia, Europe, and North America. But that's just one piece of Hapag-Lloyd's entire global network, which has something like 120 services. So the efficiency they gain in this core network, it creates a ripple effect everywhere else. And here's where it gets really strategic. By making their busiest, most important routes way more efficient with Gemini, they free up resources. We're talking ships, money, and people. And that new capacity can then be pointed directly at other key markets around the world to accelerate growth.
And we can see this exact strategy playing out in Africa right now. Hapag-Lloyd is basically doubling down on its presence there. They're taking what used to be 2 big administrative areas and splitting them into 4 more specialized ones. This lets them be way more nimble and really respond to the unique market needs in each of those regions.
And this quote from Senior Managing Director Lars Sorensen really just says it all. From the massive, high-level Gemini network down to this regional restructuring in Africa, the ultimate goal is exactly the same: to create a faster, more agile service that's really tuned in to what customers on the ground actually need. It's a seriously bold vision, but hey, if they can pull it off, it could completely rewrite the rules for how global trade works.